Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stand Up Speakeasy. My name is Sarathne, and every single episode I bring a comic to shine some light on them, whether they're right here where I am at or across the country or around the world. I just love talking to everybody. So without further ado, I met this comic. She's part of my stand special slash documentary. She has her own podcast. Welcome to the stage, Vanessa Scaduto. Hey Vanessa, how are you, beautiful?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm all right. Just putting on chapstick, making sure those lips are shiny.
For sure. So, so you were born in Queens, New York, and I know that you love my hip hop references when I go on stage and talk about hip hop. So,
Yes.
what was it like growing up in Queens, New York?
Well, let's just say this. So I was lucky because I grew up in the 80s. So hip hop was just starting and New York was the epicenter of that. So when you talk about mixtapes and people handing out stuff, like I grew up watching that. Like my brother, I think he was like 11 or 12 and he got a tape from one of the guys from Wu-Tang. Like they were hanging out, like handing out cassettes and stuff. Yeah, it was like one of those things. And I remember we moved to Miami in like 93, I think it was, and nobody knew who Wu-Tang was. And then all of a sudden everybody was on their dick, and I was like, oh, we've been listening to them. So yeah, I think growing up in the 80s in New York with hip hop, you were just lucky to be exposed to all the stuff that was going on out there.
Most
I still
definitely.
love it. I still listen to I can't that's one of my favorite genres, so it is what it is.
That's where hip hop was born. So in New York,
Yeah.
and good stuff, most definitely. And so, and you're a Jacksonville comic. What brought you down to Jacksonville?
Oh, a bunch of things. But mostly school. I have a daughter. She's about to turn 20 though, but I came here because of college and everything. And I've moved away a couple of times, but I always seem to come back to Jacksonville. I'm not sure why. And like I moved to Oakland, California. I moved back to Miami, and people laugh because they're like, "You went back to Jacksonville?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's there's something about Jacksonville. I think once you lived here, like you appreciate it because it's bigger than people realize. There's a lot of things to do around here. I just think it's about like what you're looking for and the effort you put into it. So, I mean, I and also, Jacksonville is it used to be a very cheap place to live with good amenities. Now it's getting a little pricey, but
Indeed, and yep, it's when I used to live in California too, in LA, Sherman Oaks to be specific, and when I moved out there, they said you have to create your own fun or else you're not going to survive out here. So,
right, right.
yep, indeed, for sure. So, what was it like in Oakland?
I loved Oakland. I mean, I liked Oakland. I mean, I like I said, I grew up in an urban city, so like being back in Oakland, I felt at home even with the threat of my life, at any time. Literally, I was in a shooting 3 times in one day in Oakland in different spots. I just happened to be in the vicinity while a shooting was going down that day. Um, but I don't know, it never bothered me. I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is what happens when you're a city." I mean, in Jacksonville, we hear about on the news, but the same amount of stuff happens. It's just not like right next door to you all the time. But I don't know. I guess it's just part of living in the city, and I like the culture over there. People were pretty direct, I would say, in Oakland. Oh, in Oakland. I'm just gonna say in Oakland, not other places, but in Oakland, they're very direct there. So, I
For sure,
mean,
and they. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No, no,
No,
no.
you
What
go.
are you gonna say?
No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that the Black Panther movement was started there. So like the I just like the culture of Black excellence over there. The way they handle their stuff is just so direct and like business like. It's very New York in my way, but after living in the South for so long, you haven't experienced it in a while. So I really enjoyed that though.
Absolutely, and they have a really good hip hop scene there too, like with
Yes, yes, they do.
E40 and Too Short and Mac Dre and all those
I
guys.
love I love Too Short. Like I it's completely different from New York hip hop, but it's like I like that Cali LA, kind of Oakland vibe where you can feel the beach in the song. You know what I mean? You can feel the sun in the song.
Absolutely. And New York is grimy, and
Yeah, grimy,
the
kind
five
of,
boroughs.
right. Kind
Yeah.
of gruff, there's a gruffness to it. But I think I like hip hop so much too because it reminds me of comedy. Like these guys are to me sometimes so funny, like the way they spit their bars and they come up with stuff. Like I like ODB is my all time. I think you know that my all time favorite MC. Like the way he was hilarious. He was a comic. Like I don't know, he was so smart to me. It's just so brilliant how he utilized his words. He knew how to use them as a weapon. I loved it. I don't know. I loved it. I thought he was a great writer.
And there's no father to his style,
No.
and he's witty, unpredictable, talented, and natural game, and so
Yes, I
that's what
I
Wu
love it.
Tang stands for.
Yeah, I can see why he had so many kids, bro. Like, like
Indeed, like
he-
I I invented my own style of journalism called Tiger style journalism.
okay,
So it's AP style plus Chicago style, and then you multiply it by Gonzo style, which is right there, and then you get Tiger
okay,
style. So, and
I like it.
I named Tiger style after the Wu Tang Clan because Tiger style. They see Tiger style a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So I invented it, and it caught on, and I got invited to all these concerts to cover. I was like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. So you
That
were
is cool.
thank you. And it's just like journalism, you find your own voice, and like in hip hop, like back in the day, you found your own voice, and not everybody sounded the same like they do now.
Right,
Because like Old Dirty Bastard didn't sound like Ghostface, and Ghostface didn't sound like Method Man, and so forth.
right.
And they didn't sound like E40 or Scarface or whoever. It's like everyone had no auto tune was involved, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, if you think of like Redman and like you think of all these dudes back then, Far Side, like all of them, like I don't know, man. I miss it. I miss that just originality, that rawness, them just trying stuff out, see what like lands and what doesn't. I don't know. There was a lot more work I think put into it, thoughts, and what message they were trying to get across than there is now. And there's nothing wrong with the music now. There's some music I'm sure that's dope, but some of it is lacking um what's the word I'm looking for? Something to fight for, or a story being told. It's not always a story, like old hip hop, there was a story being told.
Yep.
So
And my favorite storyteller is Ghostface Killer. So,
he's very good. They're
absolutely.
all good though. They're all good. Like that's what I'm saying. It's very hard to choose because they're all different in their own ways, yet they all worked so well together. So I don't know.
Absolutely. And
I
it's
don't
so
know.
funny you mentioned the Far Side because like I was at the Malibu Inn covering Bizarre Ride Live. They call themselves Bizarre Ride Live because they broke up with the Far Side, and so
Okay.
they named it after one of their albums.
Okay.
And so I'm like front row, just taking notes, taking pictures, and Slim Kid Trey of the Far Side notices me in the front row because like everyone else was on their phones or whatever. And he grabs my journal, he grabs my pen, and he autographs my journal and hands it right back. And
That's
I still
cool.
have that journal to this day. It's so awesome.
That's really cool. That's pretty cool. I mean,
Indeed.
I ever tell you when I met Mace from De La Soul?
No,
Like, okay, so that's how I met actually Donnell Rawlings and Chappelle is because I went up to Mace because he was downtown DJing and I was like, what the hell? He was just in the pub next door to the Florida Theater and I was like, I gotta tell him. I never thought I'd see him live because I was a kid and I didn't want to age him, but I was like super excited, So I went up to him and he was so sweet. He's like, "Oh yeah, ma, what borough you from?" Like he was so Staten Island. I love him for it. And then that's when Donnell and Chappelle walked up. And because you know how Chappelle is with all, I think he brought him on tour with him is really why he was there. So, but anyway, I mean, initially I was more excited to see Mace than I was Chappelle and them because I mean, I don't know, it was my childhood right in front of me right there. So, but he was so sweet. He was such a nice guy. Yeah.
absolutely. And I was fortunate to see De La Soul at the Sunset Strip Music Festival. Like they blocked
Uh-huh.
off, like they shut down like the part of the Sunset Strip, and like they had music in different venues, but like they were performing on the street, and like De La Soul was performing on the street, like across from like. Well, it was like at different times, but there was like a different stage, and on the different stage
Right.
was like Offspring, Manson, and like Black Label Society. It was just like the most random thing.
That's so wild. That's wild, though. That's
Not
not
only
bad lineup.
absolutely not only wild, but Zach Wild because of Black Label Society. So I'm all
Right.
over the place with my music. But
No,
you,
but that sounds great. That sounds like my how I grew up too, though. Like listening to punk rock, but yet throwing on 36 chambers. Like just it is what it is.
absolutely, and it molds you and it shapes you, and it's like multicultural. And like speaking of multicultural, you grew up in a multicultural home. What was that like growing up in a multicultural home?
Well, my white privilege only exists in public. My mom, my mom is Latin. She's from South America, and she definitely beat me like every brown child. I'm pretty sure that I make jokes about it, but my mom probably would still throw hands if given the opportunity if she wasn't, old. I mean, I love her though. I have to say, I'm happy I had two cultures. I was able to see from both sides. Because even though I look like this, obviously, well, no, it's not obvious. My family doesn't look like me normally. So people used to think I was actually adopted because because of my light skin and my hair. But then, because you look at my brother and sister, they're olive complexion. They look something. There's something else going on there. Maybe it's Italian, maybe it's something like that. But yeah, no, it was interesting. It gave me an opportunity to see different cultures and learn another language and stuff like that, which I realize a lot of people don't have that. Um, after so many generations of being in this country. So
Absolutely, I'm bilingual too, so I totally get it. But
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
Cambodian, so I gotta speak Khmer with my parents. So it's
yeah, but isn't that great though? Like you can like communicate in another language. I don't know. I love it. At work, I communicate with a lot of my Latino coworkers in Spanish now, which I never used to be able to do that because I didn't have anybody to talk to. So
absolutely my language only works in certain cities like Lowell, Massachusetts, or Long Beach, California,
I
and
was gonna
Olive
say
Cliff, Cambodia.
California. For sure, somewhere, some cities in Cali. I know that.
Oh yeah, like all the donut shops, I'll go in there and they'll be like, "You're not Cambodian," and I'll throw Cambodian at them. Like, whoa, this is crazy. So
That's great though. Yeah, I know. I joke around and tell them I'm undercover. Like, they don't.
good stuff, awesome, and that's where all your stand up comes from, and your perspective, your hilarious perspectives, and your lack of boundaries, and it reminds me of like my growing up times too, because like my parents are like no holds barred and stuff. So
Right.
indeed. Awesome. So you describe yourself as you're not a female comic, but a comic who's female. Explain in
Yeah.
detail.
Okay, because I feel like we get pigeonholed. Like, if you're a female comic, you must be like this particular way or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm a comic who happens to be female. Like, I'm I'm trying to be everybody's comic, not like, oh, I'm just good for women or just good for Latin people. I would say maybe I don't know. You could probably give me your opinion because you've seen me do a couple sets here and there. I try to hit everybody, I guess. If I'm gonna make fun of something, I try to make fun of everything, not just one thing. Unless I'm doing a callback to somebody with their joke or something. But I don't know. I just don't want to be pigeonholed, is what I'm saying. Don't assume that just because I'm female, I'm gonna automatically be female. I'm multi-layered person. So I got to hear the whole thing and then judge.
Absolutely, indeed. I totally get where you're going because, like, when I was mentored, like, my mentor said, I know you love hip hop, just don't cover Wu Tang or hip hop. When you're out in LA on the Sunset Strip, you gotta cover everybody, and that's why I got like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and stuff on here too, and
Right.
all that jazz. You gotta listen. It's like it's your style. You gotta be everything. You don't want to be pigeonholed, or else they're gonna stick you just to that. And that's where I failed in my stand up because like they pigeoned me as a dirty comic, which I don't mind. I'm just really clever with my wordplay. That's all.
Well, yeah, I mean, you are, but you are. And I feel like, yeah, there's something to that because you talk about dirty things, but you're not necessarily dirty. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a good balance there. I think just people are shocked because you're actually talking about it. You know, you're not really saying I participate in all this stuff. You just come up with ideas and you're like, what if? And people are just shocked. I don't know.
It's kind
I
of like that.
enjoy it though.
Ah, thank you. It's kind of like that
Yeah.
Marvel What If on Disney Plus. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's great to get people to think about those things because I really do think people don't. I don't know. I think people can be creative. All people can. They just don't put their brains in that aspect. They're so inundated with. I mean, I want to be that person sometimes where I'm just satisfied by going to work 9 to 5. And that's it. I would love to be that person and be like, "Yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm gonna go to Disney and take my whole family, and we do it every June." It's like but that sounds miserable to me. Like
It's
I don't know why. Like that repetition and that I don't know. That sounds suffocating and just like vanilla, just so basic, And I'm like, I can't. I have to have some flavor in my life somehow, whatever that
hmm
is.
and I'm
Yeah.
as chocolate as it gets. I am as
Yeah.
chocolate as it gets. Well,
It's so much.
I'm more like the green tea ice cream. I'd say like I'm somewhere in the middle.
I got some brown specks here, so vanilla with some chocolate syrup.
I do have freckles. Like I was working at a cell phone shop in North Hollywood, right? And
Mhm.
one of my customers was Jill Scott, and I was like, "No way, that's Jill Scott." She goes, "Yep, I'm Jill Scott." And like Julie from Philly. It's like, "Yeah, Julie from Philly." And she goes, "You have the cutest freckles." I'm like, "Oh, you are so kind. Thank you
Aw.
so much."
I
Yes,
love Jill Scott even more now. Gosh, I always loved her, but I love her even more now. God,
indeed, good stuff. I'm glad you brought up freckles because, like, in Cambodian they translate freckles to fly poop. So that's the
oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
I've never heard
So,
that.
me neither.
I
But I was like,
I was Latins tell you they're angel kisses or something like that.
"Oh, that's
I think it's
better."
that's much better. I think that's way better. I don't have as many now as I've gotten I have like vitiligo, so it's like taken away some of my complexion, but man, I was covered in them as a kid, like so bad. Even with all the sunblock, you couldn't get away from it. Like nothing. They just show up. Even in places the sun doesn't shine, I'm like, how? How did I get a freckle? I don't even know what's happening right now. So,
Well, Julie from Philly will probably think they're cute. So,
oh yeah,
yeah,
Jill. Oh, Jill Scott. I love her.
absolutely, it's great. Man, and so you're the host of the podcast Los Rotos. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
I know if
Yeah,
I'm looking.
los rotos. But yeah, you can do it. No, it's good. Los rotos. It just means the broken, and in some countries it's slang for the assholes. So I kind of felt like it worked well for comics because I recognize personally, like with a lot of new comics on the scene, I guess they feel comfortable with me, so they'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, does so and so have a problem with me? Do they not like me?" And I'm like, "No, dude. Like that's just." I was like, "You're a comic too, dude. Sometimes we want to be left alone. Like we're human. Like we can't be on all the time for each other. And then sometimes you just want to be alone. You don't, you want to be there to do your stuff, but you don't always want to have to socialize. And I get that. Some of us are more social than others. It's just what it is. But I just find it funny when other comics ask me because I'm just like, you guys are the same. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I would hope somebody tells you, like, hey, man, not cool with you. I don't want to really talk to you. I would hope people like let them know so they're not like, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm just like, why do you care? So sometimes I tell them, why do you care?
I
Like,
I need to start doing that because I'm too nice of a person. I'm like, I tell people I don't like them. It's just like,
well, it's not even about don't like them. It's just, I guess it's like, just, I think people don't say when something bothered them. And then that becomes I don't like that person instead of going, hey, man, that kind of bothered me. And that giving that person an opportunity to go, oh, shit, I am so sorry. Or, oh, I didn't know that you interpreted that way. Or that person going, all right, cool, we don't need to talk. And then you being like, cool, deuces. Like, I don't want to talk to you either, bro. Kick rocks. Like I feel like sometimes that's better off than the passive aggressive, like, I'm more like, I don't know if you were around when that crazy lady was coming around trying to do stand up. I just wouldn't talk to her. I didn't say
oh,
one word until she tried to talk to me, and I just was like, "No, thank you," and just kept walking. Like I was like, "I'm not talking to you. I'm not rude. I responded to you. I recognize your existence, but I don't want to talk to you. You're a waste of my time." Like,
She was probably that same lady that crashed my set at Rain Dogs like 2 weeks ago. And she goes, "You're not
Oh,
funny," and I'm like, "You're mean," and and I told her she stunk because she really did, and like Chris Buck booted her off stage and everything. I was like, I
yeah.
have it on video and everything.
Was her name Kelly? I think her name was Kelly.
I don't know, but she hangs out with three dudes. I'll show you the
Uh,
video and maybe you can probably tell.
oh, okay, yeah, maybe I don't know because this lady had one dude for a while until he started getting embarrassed being with her because every time there was an incident and
Oh,
a few mics. Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
maybe she's polyamorous now. I don't know.
She could be. I mean, there was something else going on there. We all have mental health issues, I think, at times in our lives, some more severe than others, and we're all going through stuff. And the comics are quirky and whatever, but we're never that oblivious, to our surroundings like this woman was. There's something definitely deeper seated, in my opinion. That's why I just rather not talk to her because I was like, I can't help somebody like this. Is not
Yeah,
so.
not with yeah. I mean,
I just like,
she needs professional help, and we're
yeah,
amateurs.
exactly. I was like, go get your meds, bro. Like, I can't help you.
Indeed. And like and I feel like I just like I go and find the perfect spot to take photos, and then I don't talk to anybody else for the whole entire night. I'm not trying to get in my zone or nothing, but I just like need
Right,
that perfect spot to get a good photo of people. And so people and I don't talk to anybody. I just go home right after my sets, and well, like I hang out to the very end, of course, but I just can't
right,
stay because I live so far away. I don't want to
right.
deal with.
I don't think anybody, you're always there and you stay so long. I don't think anybody holds any of that.
Oh, okay,
Like,
good.
and the fact that you live so far away, I think everybody knows. Like, you're traveling at least an hour, right, to get to Jacksonville every time you come, right? I mean,
Yep.
so that's right there says a lot in itself, in my opinion.
It's like
That's why I've been
driving.
pushed.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
No,
you go.
no,
No, you
no.
go ahead.
That's why I've been pushing myself to go more to mics outside of Jacksonville. Also, I'm just kind of want to see the response from people I'm not telling jokes to every week, and getting the feedback. I'm also more confident about some of the material I have now, so it's like I'm more confident how I'm going to respond to things on stage, whatever that may be. I think also not caring anymore as much.
Mm,
I mean, I care more, but I don't care more, if that makes sense. I think you know what I mean.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm like an hour away from all my mics, and it just, or an hour and 30 sometimes to Orlando, like an hour to the Nog even, and it's like,
Really? Where
thanks.
do you live again? I thought you
Uh,
lived near Daytona for some reason.
oh no, I like live in the middle of Jacksonville and Daytona,
Oh, okay.
which is great because then the drive home is not that bad, and it's like driving pretty much from like one end of Jacksonville to the other, so
Right,
it's
right, right.
fantastic. So it's like not even because Jacksonville's so big. I don't know how you all do it. So it's just like
No, it's
yeah.
huge. I was asked to work at another place tomorrow to help out. And I have to go to Fruit Cove. Now it doesn't, and it's not far from where I'm normally at for my job, but it is from where I live. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to drive 40 minutes tomorrow, to get there. So I'm gonna have to wake up early and drive. And I do miss being up the road 5 minutes, for my job. I literally could hop in my car and be there and just, I was like, why do I even have a car? I could probably walk here, kind of thing. So I
Indeed,
totally get it, but yeah, the driving is sucks.
indeed.
Sucks.
I love it. I love the long distance because like it gives me time to prep in my head and go up cold, and then decompress on the way home, and be like, if
True.
I bombed. I can just laugh about it by myself in the car. It's like no problem. Oh man, I love those bombing stories. What's your worst bombing story?
Oh my god, I don't know. I have so many. I feel like well, no, I have okay. I know I bombed in the beginning just because I was not preparing properly and things like that. But I think one of the worst ones is I think I just went blank and nothing I said was funny and I just kept talking. It was one of those things. It was just crickets, crickets. I think maybe Dean laughed at me one time, but he was laughing at my bombing, like You know how we do, like, we do
Yeah.
and I can't help it because I feel for you, but I'm just like, this is so funny because the torture I know that my friend is feeling up there is horrific right now, but I all I can do to cope is laugh right now. That's all I can do. And that's pretty much what happened. I just walked off. I don't know. I feel like there was a worse story, but I can't remember 'em. But I just that dead silence sometimes you're just like, "Oh god, when is this over? Somebody light me. Somebody light me right now."
Indeed. Oh man, like my worst bombing story happened on my birthday show, and I bought myself a red velvet cake to share with everybody and ding dongs too. You know, because of my ding dong joke. You know,
Right, right, right.
your favorite joke of mine, and I had to go with the theme. And so like my
Right.
idea was like being John Malkovich, but being myself, being Sarathne, the whole theme of the night. And like I couldn't be there, so my alter ego was there. And so everybody did their best to do my jokes, you know. So it's like John
Oh my
Malkovich.
god, really?
And so
Oh,
I totally forgot
that's
about the
great.
theme, and Wu Manchu and goes up there and just eats so many dicks. And then I started doing my superhero jokes, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I give up. I'm gonna sing Happy Birthday to myself. I don't care if you sing along with me. And nobody ate the cake. They just ate the ding dongs. It was like the worst night ever.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. That was your birthday night?
Yep.
Did you talk to anybody who was there about it, like, to see how they actually felt about it? Or, like
I was just ashamed of myself. I didn't want to be bothered.
oh my god, I feel that so much right now, though. I feel like that's how I am right now in life, where I'm just like, I don't even know if I'll like that answer. I'll just leave it be, leave it where it's leave it where it lies.
Indeed. So you interview comics and how about how they're starting comedy and I've been loving every episode. Like all my buddies
Oh,
are on there,
thanks.
and I can't wait to be
Yeah.
invited on your one of your final two shows. And why
You
don't you
have
ask
been
me
invited. I just have to figure out a time for you to come. Yeah.
for sure? I'm all for it. You let me know when
For sure, for
um
sure.
but you interview them about their belief or their lack of paranormal. How come?
Yeah. Because I have my own beliefs and I'm always curious about other people's perspectives and possible experiences they have. And I'm also curious when people don't believe and why they don't and what their beliefs are. Like, there's no wrong or right answer to it because I don't push my beliefs on anybody. I don't really care. Like, you can believe whatever, you know. I honestly don't even care if you pray to Satan. That's your own, thing. Now, I may not hang out with you often, but you go ahead. You do the do. Whatever you do, like that's on you, bro. I just don't want that juju around me. Because that's my personal belief. But I just think comics perspectives are hilarious to begin with, but then you throw paranormal into it on top of that, and you open those floodgates, for Bigfoot, aliens, whatever our imagination can let in. I'm always curious what they're gonna say to it. And even if they don't believe, I'll still ask questions like, well, what if XYZ, just to see what their perspective is on it. So I don't know. I mean, do you have any beliefs on that stuff? So I know what to ask you. And
Oh yeah. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but like I have a lot of those paranormal stories, so I will
oh,
have to share
good.
that on
Oh
like
my God, I want to know them now. Can you give me like a snippet? Like, just give me one. You said lots, so give me the least. Uh,
I've had a sleep paralysis demon since 1992.
a slick
So
process demon.
oh, a sleep paralysis demon
Oh,
since
sleep
92.
paralysis. Okay.
Yep, we
Yeah.
were pals now, so we just kick it. but
I
they
have some.
bother me every once in a while. But I know how to get rid of them when I need to now, and that's how I know how I know how to control that demon now. So
Well, did you want to go into detail on how you do that? How you stop one?
it is totally X-rated, and I save it for the show.
I
it's,
want to know now.
it's like the entity. Have you seen the entity? The horror
No, but
movie.
I have an idea of what you mean though. I understand. So that wouldn't that be like a succubus then though?
Yep, and it can
I thought
suck
you
on this.
said
So we'll just leave it at
no, I've had a sleep paralysis thing one time and I felt like I didn't see anything though. I felt it like weighing down on me, and I could move my eyes, but I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't actually. I couldn't open my eyes. I could just move them under my eyelids, like, or at least I thought that's what I was doing. Like I don't know. That's what I perceived I was doing, and and then I thought, oh, I'll have to pray or something because I didn't know what was on me. I didn't even know if I was in sleep paralysis. You wake up in that weird state, and then I heard a voice say something, and all of a sudden I could move and I was fine. And I went to sleep like nothing, dude, like a baby. It was like an angel or something. I don't know. The voice was soothing, is all I'm saying. And it was not my voice in my head. It was some masculine, deep, like soulful voice and said one word, and that was it. So I don't know what that was. So
The
maybe
word
I'm
is
have,
go ahead.
huh?
You go ahead.
No, no, no.
No, you go ahead. Finish your statement.
I love when you do that because I want to go. No, you go ahead. No, 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 you go ahead. I want us to just keep doing that. Okay. Um, what was I saying though? Oh yeah. So I don't know what I was saying now at this point. Maybe I should just hit this and then.
Indeed. Probably that deep voice was said Barry.
No,
As
I
in
know what he said. He said force. That's all he said. He said
oh
force. So I thought he meant like force a white light around me or force my body back into like my ethereal body at into my body or something. And so that's what I did. I imagined myself in a white light and then I could move and I was fine and fell asleep like nothing.
wow.
I You would think that you'd be more freaked out. I don't know. I felt calm and safe. So
Now that you said force and a deep voice, I'm thinking it's James Earl Jones, Darth Vader in your room.
it was similar to that voice. It was more like Shaft. It was more like Shaft. So it was like that kind of soulful voice. So I even had a dream that I was like my family was all black. Like I knew them, but I didn't know them this lifetime, but I knew them. I don't know. I have weird dreams, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
I
indeed, for sure.
think it was a
Oh,
past life, is all I'm saying.
yeah, I totally believe in past lives too. Like I have like past lives like all the time. I think I lived like four past lives in the past 12 years. Like everything's so different from each other. Like in those like four different years. Like I started off in horror, of course, and then
No.
I went to like comedy, and I went to like theater, and I went to like in like four different time periods. A concert journalist. There's just random things, trippy.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, when I tell people all the jobs I've had, I realize like, oh my God, I have done a lot. Like, and I do know more than I really realized. I just thought it was like normal that people move from something else if they're not happy. But I realized no, a lot of people just stick to shit and
Yeah,
don't see if there's something else out there. And I'm like, I happen to learn a lot of stuff because I wanted to keep growing and not be stagnant in one spot. So I don't know. And I'm
absolutely. I
not
used to
saying
work at a
I'm
hard.
successful.
I'm not either.
Um,
I just didn't want to stay at a hardware store for 16 years like some of my buddies. So I'm like, oh, I'm good. But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
no offense to
some
hardware stores out there, but
yeah, I have a friend who's worked for a pizza chain, I'm not gonna say which one, literally since high school, so it's over 20 years. He's happy there. I mean, it is what it is, and he's now, I think, a regional manager of some sort, like so he's getting paid well, and he's not cooking pizzas anymore, but still, it's one of those things, some people are happy.
yeah. And that's all that matters. Like as long as you're happy with what you're doing, it doesn't matter how long you've been at it. As long as you're happy,
Right.
and that's what I realized. Like when I was working at the cell phone store, that's the job that paid me the most, but I was the most miserable. And then like the job that paid me the least, which was my dad, for like from 9 years old to 18, I was the happiest. So he goes, the reason why I didn't want to pay you, son, is because I wanted to pay for your college instead. I'm like, oh, that's great, Dad. Thank you.
At
Make up
least
all
he
those
helped.
rules.
Listen, I would have taken my parents paying for my college any day. I still have debt, so it's like that's why for my daughter, I made sure she wouldn't have that. That thing weighs over you. So yeah, If that was the case, I still worked for my dad and I didn't get paid shit, but no college, so I didn't get any college.
Indeed. So Vanessa, this is the second part of the show, and I
Okay.
asked question. I asked this question to all the comics I've interviewed. That's on my YouTube channel. There's like 600 interviews on there.
Okay.
So
Wow,
that's
wow.
the yeah,
I
it's
knew you
an
had a lot. I
insane.
didn't know it was like 600 though, but I knew you had a lot.
It might be 700 now. I don't know. I don't count, but it's just insane amount. It's an insane amount. Vanessa, what inspired you to perform stand-up comedy?
Uh, my depression. I
Mine
mean, the fact,
too. Mine
I
too.
know it really was. I mean, that was really it was an outlet, a creative outlet. I've been doing stuff my whole life, so in a creative aspect. So I was like, I love stand up. I realized too, I was kind of obsessed in other ways than people weren't. I was just a nerd, and I would seek out comics that people didn't do that. And I was like, and then actually, Donnell Rawlings was the one who told me I should do it. And Dave Chappelle, he goes, if Donnell's telling you you should do it, you should do it. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been here. And that was kind of, I thought they were just messing with me. And he's like, no. And then Chappelle goes, how old are you? Like that. Because he knew I was older at that time. Because I was like, I'm too old. And he's like, well, how old are you? And at that time, I think I was like 34. And he's like, he looked at me and he goes, no, I think you could do it. And he walked back to the back of his tour bus and shut the door. That's all he said. And I was like, it still took me another 2 years to actually, I was writing. I've never done these jokes either for you guys, and I need to pull these notebooks out, but I was writing notebooks full of jokes. I was writing more than I write now. And I have all these jokes. And for 2 years, I just wrote and I'd send them to my other comic friends who I knew were doing it. And they were like, dude, just go perform this. Like, what are you doing? This is hilarious. Like, why aren't you performing this? Um, so then I eventually did it. I watched you guys for like 6 months too when I got back from California. And then I finally got the balls, I think, to go up one night. So,
Indeed. Yeah, I didn't start until I was 30 years old, um, and so I was like, it just never hit me until then. I was, when I was out in LA, that's my mentor said you should try stand up, and that's what I did. And I got so burnt out from writing articles and like all that stuff that I just started writing on stage, and I'm like, so it's ballsy, but it's like the only method that works for me. It seems like.
yeah, I find there is a coincidence. Like, there's a lot of coincidental things with us because the hip hop thing, I actually used to write for the school paper and I helped produce some of the news in Channel 4. Like, there's a few things like the photography, the film, the stuff like that. I find that funny though, that I think when I talk to more comics, they have a lot more of those talents and traits than they realize with each other. We have like more of that equal balance between those things. Not all of them have it, but some of them are younger too. They haven't had the life experience yet to like learn those things yet, but they're getting there though. Some of them, I talk to them, they're like, hey, how do I do this? Now they're asking us old heads certain stuff. We old heads now, bro. We them old heads.
We are like I'm 7 years in. On February 15th was my anniversary, my very first show, and then like February 15th of next year, 2023 is my last show. I'm walking away the
Wow.
same way I came in, with my roast.
Are you really stopping?
Yep, I did
You say
everything I
that, but are you
for like
serious?
absolutely. I did everything I ever wanted to do with it. Like I got my own special, my own documentary, my own one man show out of it. Like I did my own festival, two festivals out
Right.
of it. Like,
That's
what is there
true.
left to prove? Like, Netflix is going downhill, so I was like, why get a Netflix special? It's like,
Yeah, but
know,
is there anything else you wanna do though, like, with it? Because, like, I don't know, I feel like I don't know, I don't want you to stop writing jokes.
well, I can probably help, like, be a ghostwriter, but I don't want to. I'm like the mileages have added up, the years. Like, I did two
Oh,
tours
yeah.
already, so I'm like,
Yeah, I can imagine. What about being a writer though? Like, on a show or on something?
I'll help out. I'd love to be a tour manager or something, like for a comic or.
You know what my dream would be, Sareth, and I told Anna this, and I think maybe I've told you, maybe not, but I would love to own a comedy club. I would love
Mm.
to be like a Mitzi Shore, just be an old broad who meets all these comics, who gets to listen to them and say, "You're gonna make it today, Sonny. You're on, like you're on a 10. You got 5 minutes." And they're like, "All right."
Most definitely.
No,
Oh,
but
Vanessa, you froze up on me
Oh, okay.
there. Oh, there we are.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
back to
here.
normal. Okay, so I think that's a sign from the paranormal
It's
activity.
fine.
Yeah. So we'll lightning round to the second act. And so, what was the feeling like when you first performed stand up comedy?
uh Exhilarating, I guess, uh I think I used to open up with something like, "Oh, thanks for listening me," because something with my mom and dad didn't. "Thanks for validating me," or something. Forgot what I said, but yeah, I loved it. I mean, there's nothing like it. I think once you get that initial laugh or that feeling that you got strangers to laugh at you, there's nothing like it. You can't go back from there. I don't know where you go back. Like that, when you get that first real laugh, you're like, all right, I want to do that again. I like that. That was great.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Chappelle, and he's had some specials and record albums. And I want to know what your favorite comedy specials and record albums are.
All right. I have to give it up to David Cross. Shut Up You Fucking Baby probably was one of the first, if for my time period. Not I've listened to other comics in the past, obviously, but like for our age group and our time period, that I was like, this is the baddest fucking album, like comedy album that I've heard in a while. I mean, Mitch Hedberg had one too, obviously, and then he died. So fuck you, Mitch, in heaven. You shouldn't have died, you dumb shit. I wanted him to give me more jokes. Like he was good. All right, you said album, comedy album. What was the other part of the thing? Look, me trying to
Comedy,
rewind it.
comedy specials. So you covered the specials already. I think.
That's so hard. There's a lot of good ones. I mean, I don't think people get enough credit. Obviously, we know Ali Wong's all her specials. I haven't seen the most recent one. I know that came out last month, I think, or this month. I gotta watch that. I've just been waiting, but um, I mean, I'm saying women, but I like Maria Bamford. I know people don't put her out there. I think she's hilarious. I mean, of course, we got Tommy Jeans, Tom Segura. I mean, I liked all of his specials. That's how I found him, is when I saw like a random special of his, and I was like, "Who is this guy? How come I haven't seen him?" And I just went down the rabbit hole. That was like just before he even started YMH and all that stuff. I fell in love with him, and I know I'm gonna miss people like Chad Daniels. People don't talk about Chad either. I don't know. Chris Stefano comes out with a special May 3rd. I hope that's a good one. I think that will be a fun one.
Indeed, for sure.
I just named all these.
And if you can go on tour with any comedian locally and internationally known, which comedians would you pick to go on tour with?
Oh, okay. Locally, oh, Jamar, of course, Jamar, and because we're best buds, and our sense of humor is very similar. Like he could be goofy and weird and creepy at the same time, because some of our jokes are like that. You know what I mean? Weird, goofy, and creepy. So I love it. And then I would choose Chris Stefano because he's the same. He says the most inappropriate stuff, and he can be creepy and funny. And I think all three of us would have a good time together. Like we just say the most inappropriate things.
Indeed. And what are your favorite sitcoms, sketch shows, and comedy films?
Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna go to Mr. Show is probably one of my all-time favorite sketch shows for its time period. Besides Kids in the Hall, that was so hilarious to me too. I don't know why I love that stuff. Oh, comedy movies, that's hard. I don't know. I can't pick that one. I can't say for sure. I actually like to. I know this is a rom com kind of, but When Harry Met Sally, it's just a classic in a lot of ways. And what was the other thing? The other one? Sorry.
Sitcoms.
Sitcoms. Um, what's the one with Archie Bunker? Is it All in the Family or something like that? All in the Family. That's a pretty good one. And then Then there was one with Redfish. Redfish had one. What was that one? It was around the same time period.
Oh, Red Fox, you mean?
Or Red Fox. What did I say? Redfish. Red
Yeah.
Fox.
Sanford
Red
and Son.
Fox. Sanford and Son. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. And let's see here. If yeah, like rom coms are my favorites too. Like I watch the free ones on YouTube with ads, but you turn off the
Uh
ad
huh.
blockers and it won't interrupt it, and it's just
Oh, cool.
fantastic. I'll just watch those all day. I'm a big
Yeah,
softie.
I like those. Those can be fun sometimes, They don't if especially when they're well written.
Yeah. And there's so many on there that are well written, so I recommend those ones.
Yeah.
Um, and if, if you can get roasted by five comedians, top five dead or alive, which comedians would you like to get roasted by?
Oh, Paul Mooney. 100% Paul Mooney. God, he would tear me a new asshole, and I'd love it. um, Dead or alive. Richard Pryor. Uh, oh my God. Patrice O'Neill. Uh, I'm gonna say his name wrong, I think, but I think it's Jeff Garofalo or God, what was his name? He passed away. It's not Jeff. I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh,
It's you know who I'm
I
talking about though. He was an Italian guy, another New York comic, white dude.
I do.
I
Um,
can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now.
let's see here. I know his name and I see it in my head. Greg Giraldo, that's the one.
Greg Giraldo. So I switched it up. I said Jeff. Okay. Yeah, Greg Giraldo and I guess I'm picking all these dead people. And Nikki Glazer. We'll pick an alive woman. I would love to see her.
She's
She's
really
really good
good.
at roasting. Yeah, she's really good at roasting. I would and we're the same age, so I'd love to see what she says.
Indeed, she did her roast jokes at Jacksonville recent or like a year or two ago at the Comedy Zone because she was
Uh-huh.
on some roast panel that year or something. And like my buddy Courtney from St. Augustine opened that helped was one of the local openers, so it's pretty dope.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know Courtney
Oh,
with the little
Tulsa.
baby. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
I didn't know she did that. I
Yeah,
actually wanted to go there too to see her, go to the Nog yesterday to see her because I saw she was going to be there and I know she hadn't been doing stuff. At least I haven't seen her and I love her. I think she's hilarious. So, plus I want to talk to her about doing the podcast too. So, because I was like,
absolutely.
I need more, we need more women. So, more.
For sure. There's not
So,
a lot of women up there, and I'm like, well, I mean, there's like so many women here, in, not women comics in Orlando, and I'm like, I get to see them, and I made sure for my festival this year that I put a lot more like women comics and LGBT comics, and like because there's a lot of male comics on the bill, so
yeah, I
mm,
mean, and here's the thing. Like, I know it's never, I personally don't think it's always intentional that people are just selecting a group. I just think that's unfortunately the availability sometimes too is what's there. I think it's about also doing the work. I mean, you have to still be funny. You can't just be a woman and want to do comedy and get called up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You got to do the work. Like, I don't personally ever get offended. I just think they're people are booking for whatever reasons they're booking and I don't want to think about it personally kind of stuff because then you get
that's
caught up in that. I don't know if that's a good look either.
no. As
So
long as you have like a good balance, you're good. I feel
yeah,
like funny is funny, whether you're male, female, transgender, it doesn't matter. And
yeah,
that's what I love about comedy. Like you, especially the nog, you come as you are, and either and people that get offended, there's a door. Like like
right,
and we're loved, and that's why I love my small happy family. We're close and tight knit, and all that
right.
stuff. And they send me a way to find like a talent and who's funny and who's not, and I'm like the scout. So it's because
Yes.
like a lot of the Daytona comics can't get out because sometimes some of them have DUIs and stuff, but and the others have girlfriends and
They
boyfriends.
would. They would.
I got to be the one that travels.
Yeah, it's so funny that you are the it's like you're the DD for them because like anytime I see these guys and I love them too by the way. I think some of those Daytona comics are the sweetest, I've been around. Very warm and welcoming, but they're always fucked up. And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
they are.
I was
They
like,
are.
guys, it's a Tuesday at 11 and you just dropped a hit of acid. Good luck. Like,
Absolutely. And like I'm the only one that's like 100, like one of the very few that's completely sober at the nog. Like
right.
everyone's on, like they're pretty, someone probably had like a Hunter S. Thompson suitcase in the back of their trunk, and like they're just like popping something, and they go on stage. And like, where am I at? And like the serial killer that came to the nog, offered everyone drugs except for me because she knows that I don't. By the look of me, I don't do drugs. Like you can tell that I don't do drugs. So she didn't offer me. So I'm like, well, f you too, scared, you serial killer. You can drug everybody else and kill them, but not me.
I know. I was gonna say at least she didn't try to take you down, bro. Like I can't. Yeah, but dude, that I forgot who told me about that serial killer though. Like I was like, that's crazy to think that she was hanging out at the open mics. I I mean, they could have smoked joints with her left and right, and could have been blood spatter all over her. Who knows? Like,
Yeah. Jesus, like we have Eileen Warnos Jr. over here. It's like, oh, jeez.
oh my, I'm telling you, I can't imagine Florida. Florida. I
Right.
don't.
So, where do you see your comedy journey in the next 5 years?
I hope to actually be doing something with it, whatever that may be, like whether that's actually me going out more and doing, because now that my daughter's older and now that I feel like I'm taking it more seriously than I have before in the last 4 years or whatever, I've been doing it now. Um, I would like to get paid to do something with comedy, whatever that may be, like some involvement, whether that's production of something, whether that's, I would love to be an agent for comics, honestly. I think because I'm older and I have sales background and connections or whatever, I would love to do. I just don't know where to start with that. That's one of those things, like how do you start to be someone's agent? Like how do you why would they listen to you if you call the venue and been like, "Yo, we need," you know what I mean? Like how does that necessarily work? Or a manager. I could probably be somebody's manager or whatever. But like I joked around all the time with Will Blaylock. I'm like, "Yo, Will, remember I could be your agent." Cuz I think Will could go far. Like there's a lot of some of these comics that, if I could manage them, I would do certain things for them to get them further ahead, but some of them have families and things going on, so
Well, if you want, I can be your guinea pig. Because I only have like what 8 months left, and you can just like take. You can be my agent and my manager for a little while, and then you can like. Oh, I got like hands-on experience now. I'll get take on more clients, and I'm because I used to be a manager of a band,
Mhm.
like by accident, and that's like the best.
Okay.
That's the best thing is like to be someone's manager by accident, because like they got. I needed to write an article. Like my 2 weeks thing that I was like dry for a little while. And they had to come up with an article in like 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
I went to the Guitar Center, and I'm like, hey, I need like, is there a show going on in this town and that I can write about? And the two of the salesmen were like, yeah, we got a show at this burger joint. We're playing on their patio. I'm like, cool, I'll be there. I'll take pictures and write an article for you. And then the rain and the wind comes and it knocks down everything. And they're like, no, I need my article and I need my gig. I need to get paid. And I'm like, all right, I got friends that own venues. And so I landed them the gig like right next door. And they're like, we can't pay him, but we'll put a tip jar out for him. How about that? I'm like, cool, that works too. They just need to play. I need my article. Let's go. And so one of their fans was like, hey, this band before they play, they're gonna be your next favorite band. I guarantee it. I'm like, yeah, 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 whatever. I'm just here for an article. And they were my next favorite band. They were Mumford and Sons meets Alice in Chains, and I'm like, this is freaking amazing. They're a three-piece
That's
band. They sound
that's
like
pretty
trucks.
cool.
This is just insane. Like, and they wrap up. I help load up. I was a roadie too. I was like, why not? I'll help roadie. We go to the parking lot and they're like, hey, you pulled this gig out of your butt, like out of nowhere, like out of thin air. Can you please be our manager, our booking agent, our publicist, anything? I'm like, yes. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it, and let's hope for the best. Like that's all we asked for. And so I ended up making them $1,500 out of in 22 gigs, and that's a lot for a local band. Like
Yeah.
because nobody
That's a
gets
good
paid. So
Yeah, that's good, but did you get any profits from it?
They promised me 10%, but they only gave me $15. I'm like, oh crap, that's just great.
See what I'm saying?
I got 1% out of the deal.
That's what I'm afraid. I'm gonna put all this energy into something, and then it's like, that's why I was like, eventually I want to do that. I can't. I wish I could do that for you right now, but I can't right now. But I start something in actually this month, I guess in May. I start doing a teaching assistant for Georgia Tech. So I'm kind of sad because it may cut a bit into my mic times because I'll be working at night. So it's kind of a couple days a week, but that those are the days we go to our open mics, and one of those days are Tuesdays, which is
Oh,
my voussoir night, which I usually get a really good response in that room, and I enjoy doing new material there because I don't know what's up with that audience. It changes for the most part, but they're really receptive. So you can work out a lot of stuff there and still have a great time, even though it's like this.
I love that room too. I love Scott. I just don't go as much anymore because I found a new spot at Pineapples in Melbourne, and that place
Oh,
is
okay.
amazing. It's 2 hours away instead of one way, but I'm like, I just love it here. But I'll try to come up to Voussoir another time, like in the future. But I miss it. But
What's
um,
that place in Melbourne called though? You said Pineapples.
yep,
Is
yeah.
it like a?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. We'll
no,
call this
you
episode.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Um, so is it like a good room? Like people show up every week, or like yeah, and then a lot of comics show up too.
Yeah, indeed, it's worth the
I wish,
travel.
yeah, I wish
And that,
we had more rooms in some ways here, even though we have rooms, but I feel like we could have more rooms. I don't know.
yeah. And that's why I love living in the middle because I can, whenever I get bored with the city, I can just go to a different one. And like,
Hmm.
I have options, and I can do like every night. Like I know that Jacksonville doesn't have weekend mics, like but like Orlando does, and like
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So, have you done those mics on Friday and Saturday nights, or
I used to when they had a lot of them. Yeah,
but
like
not as much anymore?
not as much anymore. They had Drunken Monkey, and on one Saturday you can do like two open mics. That one you had to sign up in advance, and then like an actual show, and you can do three in one night. And I miss that feeling to do like multiple in a night.
Right,
It reminds me of like when Monday happened, and it was you could hit up Eclipse and Shanny and Rain Dogs all in one night.
right,
Because like driving an hour is just like man, no, for 5 minutes. Oh well.
right, right. And then what if, like, at least at the next mic, or like, you could look back at your previous and go, all right, I'm gonna tweak this a little bit, see how that works. I'm gonna tweak that a little bit. Um, yeah,
That's why I want to move to like I don't know if I was younger and like I had I would go to Chicago. That's like
Chicago.
yeah they there's no pay to play mics. You can just hop on and do multiple a night. Hop on a train or something and just go and
Right.
it's heaven up there.
I mean, I wonder how. I just find it funny the pay to play mics because I'm just like, this makes no sense why I'm paying you for free for time that you're getting drinks and whatever. And what if I have a great set and make the audience laugh? Like, what? I'm so confused. Didn't they pay to be here? I don't know. Are they paying? I guess it would depend on like what the setup actually is, and if there's a possibility of you getting a showcase, like somebody's in the audience that's going to be able to book you or something for a paid showcase, I should say, paid, because
It's
there's
it's mostly New York and LA though that do that. Like those are the only two cities I know of that make you pay to play, and I think the reason why is because like I know every comic that does this. Like, there's a lot of comics that do this that makes me so mad. They go and do their stage time and they don't buy anything to support the venue,
yeah,
and they don't tip them either. And I'm like, this is horrible. Like they, they need, they don't need us.
you're right.
We need them. And
At
somebody.
least initially, yeah.
But the other thing that I don't like is like showcases that don't pay the comics. There's too many producers, not enough talent buyers, and
Hmm.
I'm like, people like It's just another glorified open mic, and in the 7 years that I've been doing it, I have not been like, you know, it's like you exposure doesn't pay the bills, and that's why I decided, hey, I'm going to be a DJ too. At least I'll put a tip jar out if people want to tip me. If people want to pay for their photos, they can pay me that way. There's other
Right.
avenues to get paid through comedy. That's just not. And this is what I learned from Five Finger Death Punch when I interviewed him. When I interviewed him at the Whiskey Go Go, and they say it in this interview too. It's on my YouTube channel. They go, Rob Zombie taught me this. It's like you don't get paid for the hour that you're on stage. You get paid for the time that you're not. And
Hmm.
it made me think. I'm like, all right, that's so true. I can get paid while I'm off stage with the photography and the DJing, and I know that I might not get paid while I'm on stage, but at least I'll have merch to sell for my comedy albums too. So
Yeah.
they were totally right. Like
Hmm.
make money other ways because comedy does not pay.
Well, that's why they say their merch is sometimes the most important thing to a band because that's where they're going to make the money. They're not, they could play for an hour and a half. So what? You paid $10, maybe $5, and the venue's getting most of the money
Yeah.
anyways through drinks and stuff. That's why hopefully you buy like I bought here I'm going to rep it right now. Look. I bought Sam Talent's book when I saw him. Can you guys see that?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, Running the Light. And he even signed it for me. You know, nice guy. Um, but like, you know, $20, what does that hurt me? You know, Tim Dillon got the check when he opened for me. Like Sam didn't get all that money. So, you know what I'm saying? Even though good for Sam, I'm glad he's doing that stuff now, going on tour with these comics and stuff. But it's just like, I was like, that's the least I could do is grab his book, and I plan on reading it. I started reading it. It's he's really well written, and Kyle Kinane, he wrote the forward to the book, so
Oh,
that's cool. Yeah, it's
I need to
really
pick up that book because Sam is a
yeah.
Denver comic, and I gotta support Sam. So
Yeah, yeah, it was super sweet, and he was hilarious. By the way, he killed, he
awesome, good
murdered.
stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see here. If you'd like to follow Vanessa, the Instagram and all that good stuff are all in the bottom, and Facebook and all that stuff. So just click on it, like it, follow her, all that good stuff. And that was like the next question in my regular interviews. So I'll go to the next one, which is, uh, what's your favorite joke a comic has ever written?
I don't have one. Do people actually know jokes that are very specific?
Yep, it could be either yours or mine or a famous comics or.
I mean, I honestly, and I tell Jamar this all the time, I love his Harriet Tubman versus the Predator joke. One of my favorite jokes I've ever heard, and he always dismisses it like he's like, ah, shut up. I'm like, no, dude, it's a hilarious thought. It's just and you tell a story with it. I was like, it's hilarious. I don't know. That's one of my jokes I always remember is Harriet Tubman. It's just so visual too. You can somehow weirdly picture that. You know.
Absolutely. 100%. I love that joke too.
Yeah.
And what experience would you like your audience to take with them after set is over?
What experience would I like them to take after my set's over? I just a good time. You know, maybe they felt related or connected to me in some way as a human, you know, through our experiences. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. Indeed. And so this is the third act of the show, and then you get to pick five comics that you'd like to be on the stand-up speakeasy. Preferably local,
Besides,
so I don't have to go with their agents in public.
besides you, then besides you, um, well, Jamar Torrance, of course. I talk a lot about Jamar. I'm going to. He's one of my best buds, but I just also think he's a hilarious dude, and I love how crazy his brain is. um, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, because I feel like you may have talked to some of these people, but Dean Nimick, Zach Malcolm. Um, I don't want to forget anybody. I feel like what about Ted Brown? Is that 5 or is that 4?
I think that's four.
That's 4. Okay, I know I got one more in me. One more in me. Oh, Emery.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent choices. I'll be sure to reach out to them because I have them as
Okay.
like the regular version of the show, where I'm not in the frame with them, and so
Right,
I
right.
prefer this version better because I can carry on a better conversation. It's not all choppy and all that jazz.
Uh,
And that's all that I got really. And so thank you for spending an hour with me. I was
oh
went by
yeah,
pretty
no, thanks.
fast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. But I always enjoy talking to you. So,
Ditto, pal, ditto. So, are there any final words that you like to give out to the audience at home?
yeah, it's just I don't know. Enjoy your freedom. Say what you want. Keep laughing. Enjoy life.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see you again, pal, and wherever that may be. It could be the next podcast whenever you get that scheduled, and
Oh, we have
I'm
to. We got
all.
to get scheduled.
I would love that and all that jazz, and until next time, you all be safe, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time on the Stand Up Speakeasy. Be well, everyone.